Though these are actors talking about in a competitive sense, and you're not in a competitive situation with another actor. The better they are, the better you are. And that's something I've never understood.
Robert De Niro is a name that evokes powerful emotions in the minds of moviegoers around the world. Known for his intensity, devotion to his craft, and remarkable versatility, De Niro has built a career spanning over 6 decades that includes some of the most iconic roles in cinematic history. However, beneath his reputation as one of Hollywood's greatest actors lies a life filled with personal challenges, deep family connections, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. In 2023, his world was rocked by personal tragedies and public scandals, making his decades-long career of intense privacy and dedication to his art even more poignant. Early life, roots in art and conflict. Born on August 17, 1943, in Manhattan, New York, Robert De Niro's early life was a tapestry of artistic expression, personal upheaval, and cultural complexity. His father, Robert De Niro Sr., was an abstract expressionist painter whose works would eventually find their place in renowned galleries and museums. A man of deep artistic temperament, De Niro Sr. came from a mixed heritage of Irish and Italian roots. His mother, Virginia Admiral, was also an artist, with a fascinating blend of Dutch, English, French, and German ancestry. The union of these two creative spirits seemed to promise a life filled with artistic exploration. Yet their relationship was not destined to last. When De Niro was just 2 years old, his parents separated. This divorce was far from ordinary, as it was rooted in a truth that was hidden from public knowledge at the time. De Niro's father had come to terms with his sexuality and realized he was gay. This revelation not only shocked the family, but also left a permanent imprint on young Robert's psyche. Despite the split, his father remained an active figure in his life, though the dynamics of their relationship were complicated by the separation and the emotional distance that followed. While his father's departure marked a significant emotional upheaval, it was his grandparents who played a critical, albeit contradictory role in his early years. De Niro's grandparents were deeply religious and had strong traditional values, a stark contrast to the more liberal and artistic worldview of his parents. This cultural divide reached its peak when his grandparents secretly had him baptized into the Catholic faith in September 1945, an act that created a quiet but constant tension between them and his parents. Despite the friction, De Niro's grandparents remained an important presence in his life, helping to raise him in the vibrant neighborhoods of Greenwich Village and Little Italy, two places that would shape his sense of identity and the kinds of characters he would later portray on screen. The struggle with school and the call to act De Niro's formative years were anything but conventional. He was known as a pale and skinny child, earning the nickname Bobby Milk among his peers, a moniker that stuck with him through adolescence. School, in particular, became an increasingly difficult environment for him. At the age of 16, De Niro made a life-altering decision. He dropped out of school to pursue acting. His family, understandably, was disappointed and concerned, but De Niro felt the call to the stage was stronger than any academic pursuit. Prior to his decision to leave formal education, De Niro had briefly attended the High School of Music and Art, but his time there lasted only 3 days. The competitive environment felt suffocating, and De Niro soon opted for a more independent route. Instead of attending classes, De Niro found himself on the streets of New York City, observing people from all walks of life. He studied their movements, their speech, their emotions. He was learning life's raw material to shape his future performances. During this time, he even joined a small Italian gang, though his involvement in crime never went deeper than a few misadventures. These experiences, however, gave him insights into the gritty, urban environment that would later play a crucial role in many of his iconic roles. By the time he was 17, a new chapter in De Niro's life unfolded. He enrolled at the Stella Adler Conservatory, one of New York's most respected acting schools, to formally hone his craft. It was here that De Niro was first exposed to method acting, a technique that would define his career. He was determined to become not just an actor, but a master of his craft, willing to immerse himself fully into every role. His dedication to the art of acting became apparent early on, and his commitment to the method approach was absolute. The first steps in Hollywood. At just 20 years old, De Niro's career in film began with a modest debut in the 1963 film The Wedding Party, directed by Brian De Palma. Though the movie was a small, black-and-white indie that would not be released until 1969 due to legal issues, it marked the beginning of his journey into the world of cinema. De Niro's first appearance was not flashy, and the film itself did not make a significant impact. However, it was an important step in what would later become a legendary career. In 1973, De Niro's breakthrough role came with Bang the Drum Slowly, a film about a dying baseball player named Bruce Pearson, who struggles with his mortality while navigating a complicated friendship. De Niro's commitment to the role was evident. He spent months learning to play baseball and even trained with the St. Louis Cardinals to perfect the movements of a professional player. His portrayal was subtle, yet filled with an emotional depth that earned him critical praise. De Niro's performance felt authentic, nothing theatrical, just raw and real. The film was a modest success, earning $5 million at the box office, but the real impact was felt in Hollywood, where De Niro's name began to surface as a talent to watch. Meeting Martin Scorsese. The collaboration that changed everything. The same year that Bang the Drum Slowly was released, Robert De Niro met a director who would change the trajectory of his career forever. Martin Scorsese. Their first collaboration, Mean Streets, 1973, was a film that embodied the gritty realism of New York's Little Italy. De Niro's role as the reckless and volatile Johnny Boy was a stark contrast to the more introspective characters he had played before, but it was a role that fit him perfectly. De Niro brought an electric energy to Johnny Boy, making the character unpredictable, dangerous, and unforgettable. Filming Mean Streets was no easy feat. The movie had a small budget of $500,000, and Scorsese filmed on location in the streets of New York. At times, the filming process was interrupted by local mobsters, and Scorsese even had to bribe a building owner to let them shoot in his building. Despite these challenges, the film became a cult classic, and De Niro's performance was widely praised. His performance earned him an award for Best Supporting Actor at the New York Film Critics Circle, and Hollywood took notice of this young actor's ability to bring a raw, untamed energy to his roles. The rise to stardom. The Godfather Part II and beyond. In 1974, Robert De Niro cemented his place as one of Hollywood's most promising stars with his unforgettable portrayal of the young Vito Corleone in The Godfather Part II. The first Godfather film had already set the standard for cinematic excellence, and the sequel had enormous expectations. De Niro's challenge was not only to inhabit the iconic role created by Marlon Brando, but to do so with authenticity. For 4 months, he meticulously learned to speak in a Sicilian dialect and studied Brando's performance to ensure his portrayal felt seamless. De Niro's dedication to the role paid off in a big way. His performance in The Godfather Part II earned him the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor at just 31 years old. However, in classic De Niro fashion, he didn't attend the Oscars to accept his award. He was in Italy filming another movie, his work always taking precedence over the accolades. His win was a historic moment, not just for him, but for the film itself, which went on to win 6 Oscars, solidifying The Godfather Part II as one of the greatest films in cinematic history. Pushing the boundaries, Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and method acting. The 1970s and 1980s marked the peak of De Niro's career, as he took on some of the most challenging and iconic roles in the history of film. In Taxi Driver, 1976, De Niro portrayed Travis Bickle, a mentally unstable New York cab driver. To truly immerse himself in the role, De Niro went so far as to get his own taxi driver's license, spending months driving around the city, experiencing the solitude and alienation that Travis would feel. His commitment to authenticity extended beyond the role's emotional core. De Niro also lost 35 pounds to embody the physical transformation of the character. The film's most famous scene, "You Talkin' to Me?" was not in the script. De Niro improvised the moment while looking at himself in a mirror, showcasing his ability to create raw, unfiltered moments on screen. His performance became legendary, and Taxi Driver was met with both critical acclaim and controversy, with its portrayal of urban decay and moral ambiguity becoming a touchstone for discussions on American society. De Niro's dedication to his craft reached new heights with his role as the troubled boxer Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull, 1980. In order to fully transform into LaMotta, De Niro trained extensively in boxing, even sparring with the real LaMotta. But De Niro's transformation didn't stop there. To portray LaMotta as an older, overweight man, De Niro gained an astonishing 60 pounds over 4 months by indulging in a diet of pasta, bread, and ice cream. The physical toll it took on his body was extreme, and doctors warned him not to attempt such a transformation again. Yet, the results were undeniable. De Niro won the Academy Award for Best Actor, and Raging Bull was hailed as one of the greatest films ever made. The De Niro method, a commitment to authenticity. From his earliest roles, De Niro's acting was defined by an intense dedication to realism. He famously immersed himself in his characters to such an extent that he often lived as them for weeks, even months, at a time. This commitment became most apparent in his role as Jimmy Conway in Goodfellas, 1990, a gangster obsessed with power and wealth. In the pursuit of perfection, De Niro's actions on set were as methodical as his character's motivations. To prepare for the role, De Niro not only spent hours studying the criminal psyche, but he also insisted on using real money during scenes to ensure that everything felt authentic. One of the most bizarre yet iconic stories from this period involves De Niro's insistence on wearing silk underwear throughout the entire production of Goodfellas, a detail he claimed was reflective of the real-life Jimmy Conway's habits. In addition to this, De Niro brought $5,000 of his own money to the set to be used in various scenes, ensuring that every detail, down to the smallest piece of cash, was as realistic as possible. This level of commitment extended beyond mere props. It bled into his every action, transforming him into the character in ways that few actors would dare to. A Rage. Unleashed, the phone scene in Goodfellas. One of the most powerful moments of De Niro's career came during a scene in Goodfellas where his character, Jimmy Conway, loses control and smashes a phone in a fit of rage. What was initially a planned moment of anger became something far more visceral and real. As De Niro slammed the phone, a piece of glass cut his hand, but instead of stopping, he continued with the scene, using his own blood to smear it on co-star Ray Liotta's face. This unscripted moment is a perfect example of the raw emotional intensity De Niro brought to his work. It wasn't just about acting out the character's emotions, it was about fully inhabiting the moment, feeling it in his body, and allowing that energy to transfer to the audience. That take, with De Niro's blood smeared on Liotta's face, was kept in the final cut of the film. The authenticity of that moment became an enduring symbol of De Niro's dedication to his craft, and is remembered as one of the film's most intense moments. A star in the making. De Niro's personal life and early career. While his professional career was flourishing, De Niro's personal life was just beginning to unfold in the spotlight. In 1976, during the production of Taxi Driver, he met actress Diane Abbott, and their whirlwind romance culminated in a marriage just 3 months later, on April 28, 1976. Their son, Raphael, was born later that year, on November 9, 1976. The name Raphael was chosen because he was conceived at the Hotel Raphael in Rome, a detail that became part of the narrative of their relationship. However, De Niro's commitment to method acting took a toll on his marriage. During the filming of Taxi Driver, De Niro remained in character as Travis Bickle even after the cameras stopped rolling. This was no mere performance for him. It was a way of life. This intense immersion into his characters often made it difficult to distinguish the actor from the role. For Abbott, this posed a significant challenge, as their personal life was overshadowed by De Niro's dedication to becoming the tortured, isolated character of Travis Bickle. Despite these challenges, De Niro and Abbott's marriage lasted for 12 years. During this time, De Niro's fame skyrocketed, with iconic performances in films like The Deer Hunter, 1978, and Raging Bull, 1980, solidifying his place as one of Hollywood's greatest actors. Abbott even appeared in some of his films, including The King of Comedy, 1982, where she played a bartender. However, their marriage ultimately ended in 1988, and De Niro quietly settled the divorce by paying Abbott a hefty $6.2 million, a significant sum at the time. The complexities of De Niro's relationships. Following his divorce from Abbott, De Niro entered into a relationship with model and actress Tyne Smith in 1988. Their relationship was marked by secrecy and privacy, with Smith famously stating, "Do you know how to spell private? Private." The couple's relationship was, at times, tumultuous, and it ended in 1996. Despite their separation, De Niro and Smith remained dedicated to co-parenting their twin sons, Julian Henry and Aaron Kendrick, who were born in 1995 through in vitro fertilization and surrogacy. Their decision to use a surrogate was highly unusual in the celebrity world at the time. De Niro was 52 when his twins were born, challenging the conventional idea of fatherhood in Hollywood. At an age when most actors are slowing down, De Niro found himself navigating the complexities of raising young children. In fact, his commitment to fatherhood led him to take a 6-month break from acting to spend time with his children, a decision that cost him significant film roles, including one in The Judge, 2014. A turbulent marriage with Grace Hightower. In 1997, De Niro married Grace Hightower, a woman he had met 10 years earlier at the Mr. Chow restaurant in London, where she worked as a hostess. Their marriage, however, was marked by constant ups and downs. De Niro filed for divorce in 1999, but the couple never officially separated. Instead, they shocked the world by renewing their vows in 2004 during a lavish ceremony in the Catskill Mountains. De Niro and Hightower had 2 children together, Elliot, born on March 18, 1998, and Helen Grace, who was born via surrogate on December 23, 2011. Their marriage endured for 21 years, but it was far from perfect. Reports surfaced that Hightower had significant control over De Niro's finances and film projects, leading to tension in their relationship. Eventually, in 2018, the couple divorced in a highly publicized and bitter battle. De Niro's lawyers claimed that Hightower's lavish lifestyle was putting a significant financial strain on him, revealing that she spent $215,000 a month on credit cards and another $160,000 in cash, causing widespread shock. Becoming a father later in life. De Niro's decision to become a father again at the age of 68 shocked many, particularly when he and Hightower welcomed their daughter Helen Grace in 2011 via surrogacy. At the time, he was one of the oldest fathers in Hollywood. While some criticized him for starting a family later in life, De Niro embraced fatherhood with an open heart, taking time off from his acting career to be present for his daughter. He even turned down major film roles, a rarity for an actor of his stature, to ensure he could bond with her during her early years. At the same time, De Niro's close friend and frequent collaborator, Al Pacino, also became a father at an advanced age, welcoming twins at 70. This coincidence created a unique parallel between the two legendary actors, as both navigated the challenges of fatherhood while maintaining their thriving careers. A resurgence in his career. The silver lining of Age 1. Of the most unexpected and thrilling chapters in De Niro's career came in 2012 when he starred in Silver Linings Playbook at the age of 69. Having been a superstar for decades, De Niro had not received an Oscar nomination in 21 years, but his role as Pat Solitano Sr. in the film reignited his career. His portrayal of a father struggling with obsessive-compulsive disorder and a deep obsession with the Philadelphia Eagles was both heartfelt and humorous. Though he didn't win the Oscar, the nomination itself was historic, particularly as Silver Linings Playbook became the first film in 31 years to be nominated in all 4 acting categories. The film's immense success, grossing over $236 million worldwide, proved that De Niro still had the ability to captivate audiences with his acting. The movie also introduced him to a new generation of film fans who had not previously experienced the full extent of his talent. The Irishman, a final masterpiece? In 2019, De Niro reunited with Martin Scorsese for The Irishman, a film that became one of the defining moments of his late career. At 76 years old, De Niro once again proved that he was capable of pulling off an unforgettable performance. Using advanced de-aging technology, De Niro played Frank Sheeran, a truck driver turned hitman, through several stages of his life. The film's quiet, methodical pace and De Niro's performance made it clear that he was not slowing down with age. If anything, he was becoming more refined. While some critics expressed dissatisfaction with the de-aging effects, the film was a triumph for De Niro, who brought a level of gravitas and subtlety that made the character's journey across decades emotionally powerful. The Irishman earned 10 Academy Award nominations and became one of Netflix's most viewed films. De Niro's ability to adapt to new technologies like de-aging proved that he was still willing to push the boundaries of his craft. The tragic loss of Leandro De Niro. The tragic death of De Niro's 19-year-old grandson, Leandro, in July 2023, was a heartbreaking moment in the actor's life. Leandro had been following in his grandfather's footsteps, appearing in A Star is Born, 2018, before his life was tragically cut short by a drug overdose. The death, caused by a lethal mix of fentanyl, cocaine, and ketamine, sent shockwaves through De Niro and his family. In rare moments of vulnerability, the actor described the loss as just a shock, and the grief of losing his grandson was compounded by the media attention that followed. The case also highlighted the growing opioid crisis in the United States, as Leandro had been sold counterfeit pills that contained fentanyl, a substance that has been linked to thousands of overdose deaths. The tragedy brought attention to the dangers of counterfeit prescription drugs and the urgent need for better drug education and regulation. De Niro's enduring legacy, Robert De Niro's career has spanned over 7 decades, and his life story is filled with personal and professional triumphs. From his early method acting in Taxi Driver to his most recent performances in Killers of the Flower Moon, 2023, De Niro has proven time and again that he is one of the greatest actors in the history of cinema. His work ethic, dedication to his craft, and ability to adapt to new challenges have kept him relevant across generations of moviegoers. Whether in dramas, comedies, or family-friendly films, De Niro's talent remains unmatched. Through it all, De Niro's personal life has been marked by deep love, tragedy, and resilience. The loss of his grandson Leandro was a painful reminder of life's fragility, but it has not diminished the actor's legendary status. Even in his late 70s, De Niro continues to work tirelessly, proving that passion and dedication are timeless qualities that define not just his career, but his very identity as an artist. De Niro's journey is far from over. As long as he continues to act, to challenge himself, and to live authentically, his legacy will endure. For future generations, Robert De Niro will always be a shining example of what it means to dedicate oneself fully to one's craft and to life itself.